Yes. Today we are going to start a new chapter, that is our environment. First we will discuss what is the environment. The surrounding in which we live is our environment. In our the surrounding in which we live is our environments, and in our environments only two types of things are available. One is living and another is non-living. Living components are supposed to be the biotic components, while non-living is called abiotic components. So, if it is asked that what do you mean by the term environment, you simply say that the surrounding in which we live is our environments. In our environments, two types of wastes are there. One is biodegradable waste and second one is non-biodegradable wastage. Those wastes which can be decomposed and disintegrated by the action of decomposers. Those wastes which can be decomposed by the action of decomposers are called biodegradable waste, and those wastes, almost all the organic wastage means those wastes which comes from plants and animals are called organic wastage. Those wastes like papers, leather, wool, and leaf peels of fruits and vegetables, excreta of domestic animals. These all are biodegradable because it comes from the plants and animal sources. So those wastes which comes from plants and animals, they are supposed to be the biodegradable waste because they can be decomposed by the action of decomposers. On the other hand, non-biodegradable wastes are those wastes which cannot be decomposed by the action of decomposers, like all the pesticides, insecticides, plastic, glass articles. These all are non-biodegradable because they cannot be decomposed and disintegrated by the action of decomposers. Now, we have to see the next term, ecosystem. The term ecosystem was proposed for the first time by A.G. Tansley, 1935. Regarding the explanation of the term ecosystem, we simply say the interaction of plants and animals with their physical environments, the interaction of plants and animals with one another, with their physical environment is called an ecosystem. In ecosystem, to make it more clear, in other words, we may say that the interaction of plants and animals with one another, with their physical environments, is called ecosystem. The term ecosystem was for the first time proposed by A.G. Tansley in 1935. There are two components of ecosystem. First, biotic components, and second one is abiotic components. First, we will discuss about the biotic components. Almost all the living things which are present in our surroundings are supposed to be the biotic components. These biotic components includes the living things. These biotic components Biotic components. It includes all living things. All living things. And these biotic components has been further classified into three groups: producers, second one is consumers, and third one is decomposers. Producers are autotrophs. They are green plants. All green plants are producers. Because they are autotrophs, they are capable of synthesizing their own foods by the process of photosynthesis. They can trap solar energy and convert it into the potential chemical energy. Whatever the different types of ecosystems, these ecosystems may be grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, forest ecosystem. In every ecosystem, the producers are the green plants, because they are capable of trapping solar energy and it convert it into the potential chemical energy. Consumers are the different, they are heterotrophs, different classes of animals, and for the convenience of study, we have classified these consumers in four heads. First one is primary consumers. They are primary consumers. Next, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers, and top consumers. These are different classes of consumers. Primary consumers are herbivores because they directly derive their food from the autotrophs. They are plant eaters. All herbivores are primary consumers because they are plant eaters. They directly take their food from the green plants. Secondary consumers are dependent on the primary consumers for their foods. They consume primary consumer as their foods. While tertiary consumers are those classes of consumers who consumes primary and secondary consumers as their foods. And last one is top consumers who may eat different classes of consumers as their food, but they are themselves not consumed as food by others. That like lion, tigers, these are top consumers because they used to eat primary, secondary and tertiary different classes of consumers, but they are themselves not consumed as food by others. Last one is decomposers. Decomposers are certain bacteria and fungi. These decomposers are certain bacteria and fungi. Decomposers are certain bacteria plus fungi. They used to decompose different classes of consumers. Decomposers are when the dead bodies of plants and animals are decomposed by the action of certain bacteria and fungi. It decomposes the dead bodies into the natural forms. In this way, we have seen that these decomposers play a key role in the recycling of materials from environments to organisms and organisms to environments. In every ecosystem, there is a recycling of materials from environments to organisms and organisms to environments. It can be represented by the following graphic representation like this. Suppose this is sun. This solar energy is trapped by the green plants. These green plants are eaten as foods by primary consumers, Primary consumers are eaten as foods by secondary consumers. These secondary consumers are eaten as foods by tertiary consumers, and tertiary consumers are eaten as foods by the top consumers. These all are living. They have got a certain lifespan. After the death of the body of these green plants, primary consumer, secondary consumer, tertiary consumer and top consumers, their dead body is decomposed by the decomposers, and these decomposers disintegrates the dead bodies of plants and animals into the natural forms, and it gives to the nature. And this nature further gives these materials to the green plants. In this way, we have seen, this is the graphic representation of different components of ecosystem, and this by this graphic representation we may show how recycling of materials takes place in ecosystem. This solar energy is trapped by these green plants. Green plants are eaten as food by primary consumers. Primary consumers are eaten as food by secondary. Secondary is eaten as food by tertiary, and tertiary is eaten by the top consumers. After the death of the body of these living, these dead bodies are decomposed by the action of decomposers, and after the disintegration of the body of the dead bodies of these biotic components, I mean green plants, primary consumers, secondary, tertiary and top, these whatever the materials which was taken by these green plants and different classes of consumers from the nature are recycled back to the nature. In this way, recycling of material takes place. So, recycling of materials from environments to organisms and organisms to environment, and flow of energy also takes place. Flow of energy. Regarding flow of energy, we have seen the flow of energy is unidirectional. The solar energy is trapped by the green plants, and green plants is eaten as food by primary consumers. Solar energy जो भी trapped here, green plants, it is whatever the energy which was available to the green plants, only 1% energy is utilized by the green plants, and the energy which is trapped by the green plants, 90% energy is utilized by the green plants, and rest 10% energy is transferred to the primary consumer. Out of this 10%, again 90% energy is utilized by primary consumer, and rest 10% energy is transferred to the secondary consumers. Out of this 10% of energy, secondary consumers utilizes 90%, and rest 10% energy is transferred to the tertiary consumers. And this tertiary consumer utilizes 90% energy themselves, and rest 10% energy is transferred to the top consumer. In this way, in every food chain, the number of profit levels are always limited. But one thing is remarkable here, that here flow of energy takes place, and this flow of energy is unidirectional. Later on, regarding abiotic components, we have seen that these abiotic components, we have seen the abiotic components. These abiotic component, it includes non-living things. And for the convenience of the study, it is further classified into three groups: inorganic compounds, second one is organic compounds, and third one is climatic reasons or climatic factors. This one is climatic factors. Regarding inorganic compounds like oxygen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, these all are inorganic compounds. Similarly, regarding organic compounds, we have seen that carbohydrates, fats, proteins, these all are organic compounds. And regarding climatic factors, we have seen that the rainfall, humidity, temperature, these all are climatic factors. Now it is clear we have seen what is ecosystem and what are their different components. Again, I would like to recap once more. In this class, we have seen what is environments. Regarding environment, our concept is clear. The surrounding in which we live is our environments. And in our environments, only two types of things are available. One is living, another is non-living. Living components are biotic components, while non-living components are abiotic components. In our environments, two types of wastes are there. One is biodegradable, another is non-biodegradable. Biodegradable wastes are those which can be decomposed and disintegrated by the action of decomposers. They are supposed to be the biodegradable waste, while almost all the organic wastes are biodegradable, while non-biodegradable wastes are those which cannot be decomposed and disintegrated by the action of decomposers, like glass article, plastic, pesticides, insecticides. These are ballpoint pen refills. These are non-biodegradable because they cannot be decomposed and disintegrated by the action of decomposers. Later on, we have seen about the ecosystem. Regarding the explanation of the term ecosystem, we have seen that the term ecosystem was proposed for the first time by A.G. Tansley in 1935. In every ecosystem, the interaction of plants and animals with one another with their physical environment is ecosystem. In ecosystem, two types of components are there. One is biotic components, another is abiotic components. Regarding biotic components, we have seen that it includes all living things. And for the convenience of a study, we have classified the biotic components into three heads: producers, consumers, and decomposers. Regarding producers, we have seen that producers are the green plants. They are capable of synthesizing their own food by the process of photosynthesis. They trap solar energy and convert it into the potential chemical energy. Whether our ecosystem is grassland ecosystem, pond ecosystem, forest ecosystem, it doesn't matter. Producers would be the green plants. Later on, regarding consumers, we have seen that consumers are heterotrophs. They are dependent on others for their foods. And for the convenience of a study, we have classified these consumers into three heads: primary consumers, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers. In addition to these three classes of consumers, one more class is there, that is top consumers. Primary consumers are plant eaters. They directly take their foods from the green plants. Secondary consumers consumes primary consumers as their foods. Later on, secondary consumers, tertiary consumers consumes different classes of consumers as their food, but they are themselves different classes of consumers as their foods. And regarding top consumers, they consume different classes of consumers, but they are themselves not consumed as food by others, like lion, tiger, and crocodile, etc. Later on, regarding decomposers, we have seen that decomposers are certain bacteria and fungi which decomposes the dead bodies of plants and animals into the natural forms. These biotic components, I mean living components which are present, they have got a definite lifespan. After the death of the organism, their dead body is decomposed and disintegrated. into the natural forms, and whatever the materials which was taken from the nature by these biotic components are recycled back to the nature. In this way, we have seen that in every ecosystem there is a recycling of material, and in addition to the recycling of material, flow of energy also takes place. Flow of energy is unidirectional. These wind plants take trap solar energy, and most of the energy is utilized by plant itself, and rest of the energy is transferred to the different classes of consumers. So only 10% energy is transferred to the next trophic level. In this way, we see that the flow of energy is unidirectional. After biotic components, second component is abiotic components. Regarding abiotic component, we have seen that it includes non-living things, and for the convenience of the study, these abiotic components have been classified into three groups: inorganic, organic, and climatic factors. Oxygen, carbon dioxide, sulfur dioxide, these all are inorganic compounds. Organic compounds are carbohydrates, fats, and protein, and climatic factors are rainfall, humidity, and temperature. These all are inorganic components. So, in next class we will see the food chain, food wave, 10% law, biological magnification. It will be discussed in next class. That's all.